Good morning. Today we're going to talk about a review here for the test for tomorrow on the Vietnam War. All right. And I wanted to go over a few things just to remind you kind of what the unit was all about and what will be on the test tomorrow. So let's take a look at the big ideas. What's the big idea, man? All right. So Vietnam War big ideas, define important terms related to the war. So for that, obviously it's the important terms related to the war, all these things. Okay. I will use those as multiple choice and put them together for the relationship questions, everyone's favorite. So that will fuel a good portion of the test right there. So multiple choice on just about all of them. And that goes into Vietnamization, fall of Saigon. And then I'll do a couple, maybe three, of the relationship questions. Now, for those, when you take the test, you'll notice last time you got a result, but it wasn't the actual result of the test yet. You'll see like, oh, I got this, just gauging the multiple choice basically. And then I go in later and score the rest of it. So don't be panicked if you get like 10 out of 35 or something and go, well, what am I going to do? It's just the multiple choice part. Although in this one, it's going to have a couple other things that will be graded automatically, so hopefully it won't be a 10. But that's the first part of the test. So make sure you study these terms. You should have them completed on your study guide. If you don't, shame on you. And if not, there's also a link to a Quizlet that has all of these terms. And I'll be posting that again today with more test help stuff. With this, probably. Let's see. The next objective, create a timeline of important events. Now, the timeline I had you do is just finding dates. All you had to do is find the dates for those events on the last page. I'll scroll down to that to show you. Right there. Okay. From the French surrender at Dien Bien Phu on May 7th of 1954. Somewhere in there, May 8th, May 7th or 8th. All the way down to the fall of Saigon, which happened on April 30th of 1975. But here's everything in between. Okay. Now, all I wanted to do is find dates. You didn't have to make a timeline. But on the test, there'll be a matching activity where you have to match dates with events. So that's going to be the hardest part probably, but you'll be okay. But make sure you have those dates down so you know. Right? Next objective. Describe what the war was like for American troops, type of warfare, missions troops were involved with, dangers such as booby traps. Okay? On that, I'm looking at the Life of a Grunt stuff that you did. You read about. There were several videos that went with that, including one I made that nobody watched. Nobody's watching this one, so hey, whatever. But that's going to be on there as well. So you'll have to explain what it was like for the troops, what kind of missions they went on, the search and destroy missions. They'd send them out by helicopter. They'd have to try and locate the Viet Cong. Some of them were tunnel rats, meaning they had to explore the tunnels that the Viet Cong hid in. And we have to talk about dangers like the booby traps and what kind of terrible things they faced. So that's probably going to be an essay question. Hint, hint, hint. If you're watching, which is very few of you, it will be an essay question. Make sure you write all that stuff down. But if you take a look, all that stuff, if you're trying to figure out where do I know that, right here. It's all right here. If you answered these questions, You're in good shape. All right. And there will be something brief about the counterculture, maybe just some explaining some of the goals that they had. If you listen to the music, you did the questions, you watched my video, which like 5 people did. Great job, 5 people. It gives you some answers. It tells you what those ideas are all about. Some of it's about drugs. The counterculture experimented with drugs. There's no doubt about it. But some of it is about, justice for all Americans. Bob Dylan wrote in Blowing in the Wind, talking about when are some people going to be allowed to be free and when is war going to end? And, so they were interested in a lot of things. And yes, ending the war was a big one. Fortunate Son was about the injustice of war because poor people go off to fight it, rich people start it. What else did I have you watch? But there's quite a few songs that just deal with that, trying to end the war. Big Yellow Taxi was an environmental song, trying to say, let's take care of our environment. So those are the big issues I'm looking for when I ask a question about the goals of the counterculture. Again, if you're watching, that's going to be on there. And it'll be a question just like that. Explain the beliefs and goals of the counterculture. Give me examples from the songs that you heard. And you just have to list like they were pro-environment. They were against the Vietnam War. They were for civil rights. They did a lot of drugs. Something like that would be your answer. Giving you answers right now as we speak. So for those 5 people that'll watch this video, you have some answers. Heck, I should probably give you the questions that I'm going to put on there just so you're prepared. And if you saw this, you just have some freebies. It'd be worth it. But that's kind of it. There is there'll be a question about the end of the war, but it's relating those terms. It's going to be one of those relate the 3 facts. Okay, because I didn't give you a ton. Now we watched a video. You should have watched a video on the end of the war, and I discussed it in one of mine. Okay. But let's say, for example, I put Richard Nixon, Vietnamization, and the fall of Saigon as a relationship question. How would you relate that? Well, you'd say when Richard Nixon became president, he took on a policy of Vietnamization, meaning more fighting done by the Vietnamese troops to end the war. As we pulled out, Saigon falls in 1975, and the war's over. So that would be a sample answer for that. I don't know, I just made that up off the top of my head. But that's what it would be. And that one will be on the test. So know those things. Okay? And then we're done. So after you take the test, you turn it in, you got your study guide turned in, you're done for the rest of the year. You just have to watch for grades. But no more work from me. Okay? So do the tests as soon as you can tomorrow. Get it over with. You got till next Friday, but do it tomorrow. All right. If you have any questions, send me an email, Zoom with me. And that's about it. So see you tomorrow. Have a good one.